I'm Iris Ruth Pastor, and I'm here today with Rabbi Richard Birnholz of Congregation Schaarai Zedek for a little small talk. And in honor of Martin Luther King Day, which is coming up soon, we are going to be chatting with the rabbi about his experiences in being a rabbi in Jackson, Mississippi from 1973 until 1986. Rabbi, you were the congregational head of Beth Israel in Jackson, Mississippi, and it's my understanding that in those years there was a lot of racial unrest, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about being a rabbi there in those days.
Well, it was very interesting, to say the least. When things were good, Jackson is a fabulous city, and Beth Israel congregation is a wonderful congregation. We knew, Donna and I and our boys, when we went to Jackson, that there had been racial unrest. We knew that the temple had been bombed in '67 by the Klan. We knew that the rabbi's house, my predecessor's house, had been bombed. So we knew there was some unrest, but we didn't expect what we would face. For example, we did not know that the congregation, together with other congregations, had hired informers, and that the informers were embedded in the Klan to let us know any time that human life was endangered. Within a short period of time of arriving in Jackson, we were informed that Byron Della Beckwith, who was a Clucker, was planning to bomb the home of B. Botnick, who was the director of the southern branch of the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith. So we were put under protective observation. Byron Della Beckwith actually took the bomb and drove to B. Botnick's house. The Botnicks, of course, had been moved out of their house. And because the state police and local police throughout the area had also been infiltrated by Ku Klux Klansmen, we couldn't trust them. And some of the state troopers in Louisiana actually stopped him before he could plant his bomb. And he claimed he had no idea where the bomb came from. He didn't know it was in the car. He was 3 years later convicted. However, it gives you some idea of what we lived with.
And you said that there were a series of protective measures that you constantly had to take while you were there to keep, to keep yourself and the Jewish community safe.
Yeah, on 3 occasions, the Klan burned crosses on lawns of my congregants. Night riders came through and shot up our temple with high-powered rifles. We knew it was going to happen. We couldn't do anything about it because life was not in danger. But it was frightening. The FBI at times would stay overnight in our living room. They would block off our street, and there are times that we had to move our sons to other people's houses where we felt that they would be safer.
You also had mentioned the financial cost to the synagogue of that protection.
Yeah. The hiring informers cost us probably, well, in the multiple thousands of dollars, sometimes as high as $100,000. So yes, it was very expensive.
And what was that in relation to the salary that you were being paid?
Well, I started at $17,500, so I mean, in actuality, I would have done better financially as an informer.
Right. And it was, you said it was a relatively small congregation,
yeah, 250 families. Yeah.
Living through those very racially charged times, how did it change you as a rabbi, and how did it change you as a citizen? What can you tell us about that?
It gave me a great appreciation as a rabbi for my responsibilities towards my congregation. Yes, it was important to stand up for prophetic Judaism and fight for civil rights. By the same time, I had to keep in mind that what I said publicly would reflect on my congregants who still had to live in that community. And so it led me to realize that I needed to do more behind the scenes and to bring, therefore, less focus on my congregants so that their lives would be safer. And I think we accomplished a great deal behind the scenes.
Did you find that it helped you in your dealings when you came to Tampa in 1986, having that type of a background?
Absolutely. Going from one Southern congregation and coming to another, absolutely. I think you learn a certain level of diplomacy that you otherwise do not realize. You appreciate how much your congregants deal on a day-to-day basis with the rest of the world. And I also learned a lot about anti-Semitism. There were a lot of whites who were fighting for civil rights, but the Klan focused primarily on the Jews.
Rabbi, there was a book written by Jack Nelson after these events that chronicled the events called Terror in the Night, and I was wondering if you would recommend that for people who are interested in that segment of history.
Yeah, I'd recommend it highly. It is not only factual, but it reads like a novel. You can't put it down. It's hard to believe these things really happened, but it gives you the history not only of what happened in Jackson, but what happened throughout Mississippi. You cannot get it new anymore, but I think it is well worth reading. It's called, in addition, its subtitle is The Klan's War Against the Jews. It points out the anti-Semitism that is involved, and it is a thriller second to none.
And with that, we conclude this interview. I want to thank you very, very much. It's been a pleasure finding out about all these background facts and your experiences. And this has been Iris Ruth Pastor with A Little Small Talk, which is an initiative of Let My People Know.